Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi coming to you live here August 18th. It's a Tuesday, 5 p.m. Los Angeles time for our weekday, Monday through Thursday Q&A discussion session, educational information, not case-specific guidance. You should talk with an immigration lawyer about that in private, but general education, taking your questions and giving answers to the extent possible about U.S. immigration law, a topic that changes every hour, it seems. And unfortunately, that seems like the truth because it's really bizarre area of practice and affects a lot of your lives. And so I'll hopefully come here and discuss it so you can get some updates on what's going on to the extent possible. Again, I always got to couch it because it's such a constantly changing thing and a lot of information is needed. But with that said, we're about to start in a second. If you had any questions or in the sense that you want to schedule a consultation, please email my office, info@jklaw.com. We're live on TikTok app. Immigration Lawyer John is the name. John is J-O-H-N. And on Wednesdays, we're on YouTube, the JQK Law Firm YouTube page live, but also the recording of this, where a lot of you are watching this, is on the YouTube page for JQK Law Firm, along with clips and other types of videos and discussions you won't find anywhere else. Community page, I post approval notices, timelines of some cases, how long it took, so we have that. So there's a lot of stuff in there, so that's that. Napoleon asks, you wear a suit for live? Of course, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. I always wear a suit. That's what we do here on live. So I appreciate you for joining, and stick around. We're about to get started right now. All right, everybody. One thing I forgot to mention in the intro is if you are doing a marriage case, you're getting married, you're starting a fiancé visa, anything like that, the first thing you should do is download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook, which really breaks down the process so you have a better understanding of what's going on before you go and talk with a lawyer. And so you go in there with your mind full of knowledge and information so you can ask good questions from the attorney because you already know what's going on. You can go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook and get it right there. The best stuff says lawyers always suits, even in the shower. I just got out of the shower right now. I had to shave a little bit, had to clean up. Was playing the kid in the backyard, and it's like 100 degrees in Los Angeles, very hot. And we saw a snake, and once I saw a snake in the backyard, we ran back in. So even the snakes are coming out because of this heat wave that's going along. I hope everyone else is having a good time. And questions will be coming in a second. I look forward to them. But with regards to immigration law, man, it's just madness. There's a lot going on. USCIS just issued a notification as a reminder that people who are on student visas, they have to be working on OPT. So let me back it up. F1 student visa holders, these are international students going to school in America. After they graduate, they get a period of time called optional practical training, or OPT for short. And that happens for a year after graduation when we get on the job experience, but you're not allowed to have more than 90 days of unemployment during that time. But with COVID-19 happening, a lot of people might be losing their jobs. And so USCIS sent a reminder that as your students, you have to remember, you have to update the CVIS record, tell your school, the international department, to show if you're working or not working so they can know when you're unemployed so you can count those 90 days against you. A lot of people don't do it. That's a status violation. Could come back to be a problem later, especially if you don't tell them in future visa applications. So if you are a student visa holder, you're out of work, you must update the CVIS record. If it's hitting the 90-day mark, at that point, you've got to look to leaving the United States, unfortunately, because the situation is bad. Or you could potentially try doing a change of status to a tourist visa to spend some more time here to figure it out. These are stuff you should consult with an attorney in private with, but just be aware that this situation does exist, and USCIS, ICE, and the rest of the agencies are aware of it, and under the power of this administration, it may come after you, unfortunately. So definitely keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. 007 Chef asks, I got a letter today for an appointment next August 25th for my wife's I-485 and I-765. Seems short notice. So it's not, the 765's work, we're not looking at that. They're looking for the I-485. That's the adjustment of status application for your wife's green card case. And yeah, these new appointments they're giving come with like 2 weeks notice or less. I have one happening on Thursday. I got the notice last week. It's kind of wild. They are scheduling the green card interviews. A lot of people ask about that. Slowly they're doing them, but they're not giving much notice, and that's the situation. Hopefully you didn't have a vacation planned, or you could get up time off work to be able to go to that interview. Mabla says, I just got my case updated to ready for interview to be scheduled. How long does that take? I have a video on this on YouTube, JQK Law Firm, that answer that question. Essentially, there is no answer to your question. It'll take however long the field office wants it to take. Shark Tax says, better call Saul. Not really, but yeah, do what you do. Haru says, if I'm divorced and I do have work permits so I can get green card? Not necessarily. This is something you got to consult with an attorney. This doesn't really work that way, but that's not, the sentence itself doesn't make much sense. I can't help you with that, but it seems like there's a lot more going on that we need to know about. Harriet regular asks, does visa in your passport matter even if it's expired unless you're a valid status in the United States? Yeah, if your visa expires, it doesn't matter. It's about how much time your I-94 status. It's how much time you have on your I-94 in the United States. That's what's important for you here. Now, if your visa expires and you leave the United States, you'll need to get a new visa to come back in, unless some rare conditions, like if you're an F1 student doing for certain countries, go to visit Canada or Mexico within 30 days. There's all these nuances that do exist. But in general, if your visa is expired, it doesn't matter if you're already in the United States. It's about your I-94, how long your status is valid for. And if you leave the United States, you need to get the new visa in most cases to be able to come back in. The Beto says, what do you think of H-1B abuse? I think it's terrible. Shark Tank Jimmy is in New Mexico. That sounds good. Muhammad says, hi to you as well. Happy Buddha says, what do you believe is the purpose of your life? I always thought the things that come instinctually to me is getting just inputs and information and restructuring and putting it out in ways that help other people in their lives. I think that's it. And that's kind of what this live is about. Getting all this information about how the immigration law works. I, input it and I, give it out to consumers like yourself. I also do the same for training lawyers as well. And I'm starting up like a pro bono, not pro bono, what is it called? Nonprofit news agency about migration. So getting all this information, digesting it, and helping people out with the information. I think that's the purpose. It comes natural to me since I was a kid. So I'm just sticking with it and seeing where it takes me. But interesting question. That was said, thanks, all good, you got it. Muhammad says, I just recently took an oath of citizenship. I mentioned there I am single because I filed as a tax single. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. You should consult with the attorney in private. Roshi says, can we apply for visiting visa for family member in this current situation? Your family member, depending on where they are, who they are, they could try applying. You're not doing anything. The foreign person applies for a tourist visa, not you. So in this situation, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot more stuff I would need to know. So I have to talk with your relative about it. Mabula says, at what point in your life do you file, in your case, do you file your physical exam? It depends. Most cases, I file it, these are for green card cases, you have to do a medical checkup. And so when do you do that? I normally do that when USCIS sends a notice saying you didn't submit the medical checkup with your green card application. And so please have that ready for the interview. And I have it there, but there's exceptions to this. If I'm filing a case that probably is not going to have an interview, like the parent of a U.S. citizen case, usually for me, those don't have interviews. I like to do that before and submit the medical checkup with it. But in most cases afterwards. But in some cases, when I interview or do a consultation with a client, they may have certain medical conditions that makes them inadmissible. It could be problematic. So I want to get the doctor's results first before we file the case, so I know exactly what the medical situation is with that person. And that brings me to a really important topic that I want to bring up. And I fight doctors on this all the time. It's just ridiculous. When you're going to do a medical exam for immigration purposes with a civil surgeon within the United States, and you got to submit a medical checkup with your application, it comes in a sealed envelope. It's Form I-693 inside that envelope that a doctor, a civil surgeon, a registered doctor with USCIS fills so they can review your background for getting a green card. Now, I always tell my clients, make sure that you ask for additional copy of your medical because the doctors make mistakes on this, and we want to check on that. We don't want to go to the interview and realize there's a mistake and get denied or cause unnecessary delays. And 9 out of 10 times, my clients just get an extra copy from the doctor, it's no problem. But 1 out of 10 times, the doctor will come back and say, no, we're not allowed to give it to you, we won't. And that's a serious mistake because first of all, most states and most countries have it against the law and illegal for a doctor not to release an exam file of a patient to the patient. So they're violating that law. Secondly, USCIS in their training manual for civil surgeons, when the doctors get this registration, they're told that you have to release it. And in fact, if you look at the instructions for Form I-693, first page, bullet number 5, it says the doctor should give a copy to the applicant, to the foreign person doing the medical. And so I have to fight with these doctors and threaten lawsuits for them to release and do what they're supposed to do. It's ridiculous, it's frustrating, but it's very important to be aware of this if you're doing the case yourself, because you don't have a lawyer that's gonna call and yell at them to get it. You gotta be stern about it, and you know the sources I just said to cite, because it's very important to review their work. For example, there's a part in there of the vaccines. There's like 8 or 9 vaccines that you have to give, or the doctor could say not needed, or you've done it before, blah, blah. Because there's boxes and they're checking up and checking those off and they're in a rush, many times they forget to check one of the boxes. And so you want to get the copy, notice that the boxes aren't all fully checked, and give it to the doctor to fix so you don't have a surprise at the interview when the USCIS officer opens up the envelope and sees one of the boxes unmarked. Now, most USCIS officers at the interview will say, okay, I'll give you a request for evidence and RFE, go to the doctor, fix it, and come back. Well, one, some of those doctors charge extra money for that, so you don't want to get hit with that for a mistake because it's happening months down the line. And 2, it causes delays. But 3, the worst part is some USCIS officers, this is horrible, this is ridiculous, this is bordering on evil, they'll deny your case because what the doctor did in the sealed envelope, which you had no knowledge of. And that's extremely difficult, extremely harsh, but some do that. And so you have to file an appeal, spend more money, more time, more uncertainty, potentially going to the immigration court, maybe thousands of dollars later to kind of fix the situation, when at the beginning, you could have just got an extra copy of the doctor's letter and reviewed it. And so make sure your doctors give it to you. I always say when you call up a civil surgeon to schedule an appointment, first thing, ask how much they charge because the prices are so dramatically different up and down, and they all do the same thing, that the price shouldn't make a difference. Pretty much the lowest is better. Now, the lower the price is, probably takes longer for them to see you or give you the results because they're busier. But secondly, you ask them, hey, does your office release a copy of the results? If they say no, don't bother arguing with them. Just say, okay, peace out, next person. But you double check. It's just as important as the price because you have to check their work. It's very important to do that. You don't want to get a case denied. You don't want an RFE. You don't want that mess just because the doctor wasn't paying attention. It happens. It's not like they're bad people. It's just they're busy or there's a lot of boxes to check. Mistakes happen. You just want to check on that work. So that's a long answer to what you asked. It wasn't even directly what you asked, but it's something that happened yesterday. I had to argue, and I hate arguing. I went to immigration because I like, talking to people, being nice, and I have to call a doctor's office and give them the 3rd degree or whatever, the grilling. It's not something I like doing, but sometimes you got to do it. That's why I'm a lawyer. All right, next question. What is the best visa, 01? I mean, there's no best visa. It's just whatever, is appropriate for your category for what you're doing. Sarfar says, if you have a visa for 6 months, is it okay to come back to the United States again for 6 months? It's not that simple. It depends on, when you say a 6-month visa, I think what you're mean is the tourist visa, which typically get for 6 months. If you're here for a full 6 months, you could come back again. The thing is, at entry at the airport usually, or land port, they'll say, hey, you're spending a lot of time in the United States. What are you doing here? Are you living there? Are you working there? As a tourist, you can't be living or working in the United States. You're just visiting. But if you're here all the time, they may question you and either not let you in or deport you, expedited removal, because they'll say you're lying, you're really working in the United States. So the idea is, if you're a tourist, come in for tourist purposes and leave. Not here to live. If you're coming for 6 months and then coming in for 6 months, they might hassle you and not let you in or even do expedited removal. They might check your phone and think you're working and accuse you of misrepresentation, fraud, violations, all this kind of stuff, and it's severe consequences. So if you want a more detailed answer, it depends on your background, what you're doing. I need to know more information about you to be able to answer that. But that's a general answer. I mean, a tourist visa is a tourist visa. It's not meant to live in the United States. There's a lot of misunderstanding about this. I had a guy who's an attorney in a foreign country say, all part of a group of people, we're lawyers, we come and go. The group told us that it's okay to come live in the United States for 6 months, go back, come back again. I'm like, no, that's just crazy talk right there. Your group of lawyers aren't worth the bar licenses that you have if you did the research, and that's the answer you came up with. So not good. Muhammad says, but I'm married and have one daughter, so is there any problems to apply for them? I don't know, Muhammad. First of all, I don't remember what your original question was. Secondly, that's too case specific. I can't tell you what you do for applying for a family member. You got to schedule a consultation, talk about that. Madigan says, did they start scheduling asylum interviews yet? I don't know. I don't handle asylum cases. I'm not on top of that. Cutie Pie says, how much time it needs to wait for change of status? I applied for international student. It varies. It just depends on how long they want to take. Now, Sierra says, if I leave the country for good before getting the green card, what will happen to my business here and social security number? It depends. I mean, that goes into a lot of your personal background kind of stuff, what kind of agreements you have, what kind of contracts you have, what kind of debts you have. I don't know. That's a very personal question. I can't answer that without knowing a lot more information about you. Shark Attack, you should help people get the hell out. Well, maybe. Let's see. 77, thanks, you rock. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, 77. Double saying, if you had the time, not a requirement, but go to Google, type in JQK Law Firm. On the right-hand side, a lot of Google reviews come. Go ahead and leave a 5-star. You don't have to write anything. Just a 5-star always helps me out. I would appreciate that. You don't have to do that, but that'd be nice if you could. Thank you. Matty Grimm says, and if you're in asylum case, can you go to other country, not home country, before getting approved? If you have an asylum case pending, you have to, leaving the country could cause your case to get denied. You have to probably get a parole, a humanitarian parole, advanced parole to do that. I'm going to leave the information on that. That really requires you to consult an immigration attorney. It's a risky move to travel when you have an asylum case pending. Not recommended. Roshan says, thank you. You're welcome. Westall says, I filed the I-130 for my husband 14 months ago. Can you tell me when it will be approved? No, I can't. I'm not in charge of that. On YouTube, Ali says, how long will it take to be able to, and then doesn't finish a sentence. AK says, what's the latest news for USCIS? I just talked about that for 10 minutes. So you just catch the video recording of this. It's going to be on YouTube in a few days. Muhammad says, there's any problem if I mention single in my citizenship status and apply for my spouse? Yeah, if you lied, you get your citizenship taken away and put in deportation potentially. Yeah, if you lie, it's bad. That's that's a problem. You shouldn't lie in form application to the government. That's pretty simple. And yeah, that's major problem, major 100% problem, big time. Howard says, do they start scheduling marriage green card interviews yet? Yes, I talked about this for a couple minutes already. They're starting to schedule them. All right, Haru, thanks for sharing the feed. Okay. Richard says, can you take over my case? I don't know. I need to review your case first. You got to schedule a consultation. I need to review all your documents, then make a decision whether I could review it. So email my office and we could take it from there. Let's see. Kyra says, I applied work permit application February 20th, now 210 days, but no response. Try calling USCIS and see what they have to say. AK says, what will happen if I haven't been making much money in the past 3 years, but now I'm making enough to sponsor my wife? Will my past 2 years affect for not making enough money? I mean, it depends on the officer who's reviewing your case and how tough they want to be. In the past, I haven't had difficulty with that, but I had heard people say they've had difficulty. So, just send it in what it is, and if needed, try to get a joint sponsor, but give it a shot. Neos says, hi, I'm a store owner and I make over $28,000. Is that good to support my wife for I-130? If it's just you and your wife, you don't have any dependents for the Form I-864 affidavit of support, that's enough right now. But there's also a public charge requirement that looks into your wife's background, your family finances. I don't know how strict they're going to be on that if your income's enough for that. But for the I-864, the traditional paperwork or finances, that's fine. The new stuff, we haven't had these adjudicated yet, so I need more information first. But I don't know more. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. Software, yes, tourist visa, I answered that. Sax Godaddy says, your mother visa. Yeah, there we go. He scammed me. Who scammed you? This dude scammed me. No, I didn't. Let's see, scam me off. I don't trust him. That's okay. So this guy's saying stupid things that aren't true. Okay, Saxby, what's your name? Let me know your name. Yeah, let's block this guy. No, let's see. Don't manage. Block. I can tell you have a 100% clear record. No one is any dissatisfaction with my firm. This guy is committing. What's the term? When someone lies about you in print, you gotta sue this person for making false representation like that. But trolls. Layla says, hi, I heard somewhere spouse of LPR are getting visa even during ban. Is that true? Yeah, it's true. You apply for a waiver. Sometimes it's given, sometimes it's not. So yeah, that's it. Hi says, I'm applying for citizenship and I have a misdemeanor. So that's something I gotta look into and check it out. So if you have a misdemeanor while you have your citizenship application pending, it could cause a denial depending on what the crime was and what's happening there. You took my $1,000. This guy says 1,000 times. So if you're not watching of course, I got to see this on TikTok. This guy's saying like crazy stuff that I did. It's not true. Ali says, how long citizenship interview take? And do they do oath ceremony same day? Nowadays, they're trying to do oath ceremony the same day. How long does the interview take? It depends on your case and how slow the officer wants to be. Hi says, I'm applying for citizenship and I have a misdemeanor. Okay, we read that already. Let's see. Tracy, good information. God bless. Thank you. GX says, how do you get a girlfriend? Don't say be yourself. yeah, some people self-suck, so you shouldn't be yourself. You should find out who you are first. So until you know your own identity and who you are as a person, it's going to be very hard for you to find a good spouse, a good girlfriend, boyfriend, whoever it is that's going to really appreciate you. Because what I find is most people don't even know themselves. So it's hard to have expectation that someone's going to fall in love with you when you don't know who you are. So it's not about being yourself, it's about knowing who you are. And once you're comfortable in yourself, know who you are, the universe will work its way out, and you'll really identify people that match you. You'll put yourself in a position where people will match you, because you know who you are. You are where you need to be, and other people like that will find you as well. It's rare. Most people are going to have terrible relationships, but if you work on it, you can do it. We had some questions on YouTube. Since I live in the state of Connecticut, the public charge will not apply to me and my spouse overseas. Is that right? So I think Connecticut is in Second Circuit, right? No, I mean, you filed your case because you've been watching for a while. You filed your case before the injunction went into effect. So probably will affect you. I haven't read the case, but from the way the USCIS website looks is the requirement goes to people who file their case after. I don't know how they're going to play this out. This is every day changing, so I don't really have an exact answer. This is craziness. Really, the immigration system is going mad right now, so I don't have an exact answer to that. I don't want to answer that because it could change every second. Island says, my mother has DACA and has been in this country for 20 years and paying taxes. You know, being in the country 20 years paying taxes, not necessarily, and having DACA is not necessarily a reason to be able to get green card. It's about, is she enter lawfully or not? That's the bigger thing that they look at. Mike says, good afternoon to you too. And then asks, hi, I have a pending I-130. I received DACA 2 months after turning 18, and I don't have any lapses in between. I have entry without inspection. Do I need a 6-1 waiver? So no, you don't need a waiver, but let me break down what that is, a 6-1A waiver at least. So to be able to file for a green card in the United States, you have to have entered lawfully. That's one of the requirements. If you didn't, you have to go back to your foreign country and do an interview at the embassy. So in this case, the person entered the United States without permission. So if they're applying for a green card, they have to leave, go to the embassy. But in most cases, if someone overstays or is here illegally for more than 6 months or a year, once they leave the United States, they have a 3 or 10 year bar against them before they can come back in. There's a waiver you can get called a 601 waiver or the 601A provisional waiver. But in the case of a person who has DACA, deferred action for childhood arrivals, the time that they have DACA tolls the period of unlawful presence. That goes into a hell of an amount of illegal jargon that it's going to confuse people. But in essence, this person got DACA 2 months after turning 18, so only had 2 months worth of unlawful presence time, which means it's less than 6 months, and so no waivers will be needed. You won't have a 3-year bar if you leave the United States. You do have to go to the embassy to do an interview. There's risks to that. It's an unreliable situation. Hopefully, you can get advanced parole, something come back and have some sort of lawful entry. But the basic question, do you need a 601A waiver? No, you haven't accumulated enough unlawful presence time, so it's not going to hit you. Hashmi says, is it a good time for a green card holder to go on vacation outside the country? I mean, that's up to you. It's a personal decision. Island says, how can she be able to get a resident? I answered that. You really got to talk with a lawyer in private. That's too case specific. Sunny says, hi, is your firm recently getting I-751 approvals in California? Yeah, that's happening. Trey says, what's a good visa for a relative who lives in Mexico and wishes to come visit? Apply for a tourist visa. For Mexico, they usually get what's called a border crossing card, the BCC. You could try that. Price for consultation, email my office. I don't talk about prices in a recorded session. Okay, let's see. Donia says, hi, after passing the 130 days of a green card, how long will it take for delivery? I don't know. It just depends on how long it takes them. I don't have to contact USCIS about that. Mohammed says, I need an appointment for some discussion on my case. But email my office. There are fees for the consultation, but email my office and break down what your case issue is, and we can take it from there. I'll let you know it's even something I handle. Nia says, I don't support no one but me, no kids, just my wife. Okay. I don't remember what the question was, but I probably answered already. A user 69 says, how long the I-130 for spouse take nowadays? It varies. It varies. Mariam says, what if the misdemeanor is expunged? Does that help? No, the USCIS does not recognize expungements. It does not help. If anything, it may hurt your case because if you expunge it, it may be hard to get the certified or original records of your case if you don't have one already. And USCIS wants to see original or certified records. So it's a mess. You really need to talk with an immigration attorney in private. Abdul says, how can he be a lawyer, be my lawyer in New York? Simple. Just depends on the case. I mean, I don't go to court or something like that, but if it's things that need me to mail USCIS documents or the embassies, I have clients in New York, Florida, Texas, Washington State, California, Nevada, all over the place, Connecticut, it doesn't really matter. Immigration is federal law. Fantastic says, what can I do if I aged out a family petition? I mean, your family members want to get the green card, could potentially petition for you. I don't know, but it sucks. Labe says, so my husband's case is with NBC, so if he get interviewed, he can get a visa if I'm a green card holder? Probably not. Probably the trial ban would hit them unless you could find some sort of exceptional circumstances to get the waiver. Ivan says, I just got my residentship. How long do I have to wait to apply for my citizenship? I don't know. Some people it's 3 years, some people it's 5 years. It could be longer. It depends on if you satisfied all the eligibility requirements. We have some questions on YouTube. My parents says, my parents have been waiting for their citizenship for almost 6 months now. They have finished their biometrics. How long will it take to oath? Well, you got to get your interview first, but how long will it take? Well, it depends on how long the field office takes to get to you. Eki says, once they are citizens, will we notify USCIS to change the petition from F2B to F1? You can, you shouldn't, because it's going to cause a longer case. So you just don't need, at most you can tell them I don't want to go to F2B. Talk to a lawyer. I don't want to feel like doing an explanation here. It's a little long for the last end of the program, but schedule consultation. But you don't really want to switch it up from F2B to F1. It's going to take a year longer for your case. Ivan says, I just got my residence. Okay, I answered that already. Thank you. Okay. Last says, user thanks. Have you had the same case? Kari Matu says, Salam, is it a good time to apply for a test for citizenship? It's not a good time or a bad time. It just depends on your case and what's going on with your life. Fantastic says, how can I obtain a copy if you forgot prints coming in illegal? I don't know what you're talking about. Muhammad says, how to change my status on citizenship certificate because I do to some misknowledge I maintain. I don't know. I don't know. You got to schedule consultation. If you did misrepresentation, it's a pretty bad situation you're in. Basti says, my case is ready to be scheduled for interviews. So how long, when work, and all these how long questions, I don't know. What is preference IR1 mean? There's two different ideas you mesh into one. A preference category is a person who, to get a green card, has a line to be in. And IR1 is an immediate relative of one, a person getting married to a U.S. citizen. IR1s are not preference category cases. So it's a switch. Essentially, these are spouses of cases, for spouses of Americans or maybe green card holders is generally. But those things don't matter for you. You got to go to there's other factors we got to talk about. Abdul Shah says, when was the last time you did an expedite for I-130 case and was approved for I-130 expedite? I don't really do I-130 expedites too much, so I can't remember. I do work permit expedites and advanced products. That's what usually it comes down to. Daniel says, I don't see the form I-944 on the USCIS website. What does that mean? Well, we talked about this a lot, but there was a court in the Second Circuit that said that they're going to put a hold on the I-944 for now, the public charge rule, because of COVID-19. And once that happened, USCIS took the form page down so you can't access it. An appeals court for them said, no, it has to still happen for every state except for three states, the three states that are in the Second Circuit in the Northeast of America. And so USCIS has not got around to bring back the page for a form I-944, but if you type in form I-944, it'll still come on Google, and people aren't sure whether to submit it or not, because USCIS website says don't submit it, but to be safe, I'm submitting it with my cases. It's a weird situation. This is stuff, that's what I say, things change so drastically. Some of these questions I can't answer, because every 5 minutes it changes, and it's not clear. We had a question about consular processing in the DS-5540. Embassies have been closed. They're not checking the DS-5540 anyway, even when it was open. So we don't really know what's going on. They're making it up as they go along. All right, so you have like about a minute to go. So if there's one or two questions more, I'll do that. Basket says, one, how long my work permit will come? I don't know. Secondly, my case is ready to be scheduled for interview. Well, you just got to wait and see what happens. Let's see. And hi, Rita. User says, affidavit support I-130 should be filed together. No, you're completely off. So user 96, go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook, and that'll clarify where the mistake in what you're saying is. I-130 affidavit support, maybe they come together, but the I-485 and the affidavit support, those are the connected ones. But go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook and download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook. It'll help you better understand the situation. And one last question, if it's a good one, not about time. Kyra says, my marriage interview, my green card fingerprint, okay, that's about time. You got to wait. Let's see. Nasir says, I asked about I make over 27. Is that good enough? Nasir, I already answered your question. I said it's good for the I-864, but whether it's good for the I-944, I don't know. And I answered it in long more detail. Bashir says, loaf green card. I'm not sure what you're saying. Lost green card. Oh, you have to file an I-90. Are you a DA? No, I'm not a DA. I'm an immigration lawyer, not a district attorney. US man says, lost green card, no copy, eligible for M400. You need to file an I-90. If you better to do that, but consult immigration and private for help on that. And one last question. Sarfar says, if you get married overseas, what are the questions asked if you have 6 months and want to get a green card? If you have 6 months visa and you want to get a green card, your question is just like all over the place. I'm not sure how that all goes together. You really should consult an immigration attorney, but start with going to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. That'll give you some idea where you need to go, then schedule a private consultation. And with that, I want to thank everyone who joined us today and asked questions. It was great, except for that one troll. But, God bless him. And so with that said, we'll see you tomorrow. What's it? Today's Wednesday, or is it Tuesday? Was it Tuesday? Oh, wow. Today wasn't supposed to be a YouTube day. It was supposed to be an Instagram day. So I switched it up. Wednesdays are usually on YouTube, but hey, we got it in today. I'm John Khosravi. Tomorrow I'll switch it up and do it to Instagram to make up for not going on Instagram today. Confuse everybody else. Or I might just go on YouTube. We'll keep you surprised. But with that, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. My email is info@jqklaw.com. I want to thank everyone who came today, and I'll catch you all tomorrow. Until then, have a good one. God bless and bye-bye.